You believe the day begins when you wake. It does not. The day begins before the world moves, before thought becomes noise, before action can betray intent. The day begins in stillness, where all battles are decided. If you lose this first hour, you do not command the day, you chase it. And what you chase, you do not control. A soldier who wakes with no plan is already surrounded. A leader who steps into motion without silence has already surrendered. The first hour is not for speed, it is for shape. It is where mind takes form, where thought gains edge, where direction reveals itself through discipline. Let others wake to alarm, distraction, hunger. You must wake to clarity. For that is the difference between movement and meaning. Control is not taken, it is kept. And to keep it, you must first give it to no one, not to the pressure of time, not to the weight of tasks, not to the urgency of others. Before the world speaks, you must listen, not to noise, but to order, not to desire, but to alignment. Do nothing in the first hour that belongs to another. Let no one enter your mind before you do. Let no war be declared on your attention before your mind has fortified its walls. There is no such thing as a small beginning. Every delay compounds, every indulgence infects. You think you will recover control later, but later is already shaped by what you tolerated early. If the enemy owns your first thought, they own your direction. If your habits own your hands before your mind does, they write your orders. If you meet the morning in reaction, then you are not a commander, but a servant. Strategy is not what you do in conflict. It is what you do before conflict. Those who win battles have already won them. Those who lose were defeated before the sword was drawn. The battlefield merely reveals what was already true. So it is with the day. You do not win it by ambition. You win it by arrangement. Position decides outcome. Rise before light. Sit before thought. Stand before pressure. Look at the map of your day with the same precision you would bring to war. Where will your mind be flanked? Where must you reinforce your intention? What terrain is favorable to victory? What temptations must be denied before they whisper? The undisciplined call this rigidity, but it is command. And command is not born in shouting orders, but in obeying your own. Master yourself, or you will serve others under the illusion of choice. Know your direction so deeply that noise cannot seduce you. Discipline is not the absence of emotion. It is the refusal to be moved by it. Every general has lost battles, but none who stayed awake at dawn were caught unaware. Your body will beg for comfort. Your mind will seek escape. The world will reward delay with distraction. But the one who owns the hour owns the war. There is no substitute for this. No philosophy, no productivity tool, no secret shortcut. If you lose the first hour, the day belongs to the enemy. Observe your habits as you would an army. Study your movements without excuse. The way you rise reveals your respect for time. The way you dress reveals your readiness. The way you breathe reveals your fear. Nothing is trivial. You cannot lead others if you cannot lead yourself through a single hour of silence. The way you treat the morning is the way you treat the future. If you stumble through it, the rest of the day follows in kind. If you shape it with precision, the rest of the day aligns. Like dominoes arranged before a single touch, events fall where attention places them. Set the first piece with care. There is no need for urgency when there is order. Urgency is the child of chaos. Those who rush in the morning have already lost tempo. Their rhythm is dictated by fire, not by structure. But you must be different. Let others wake to chase their fate. You must wake to write it. Do not confuse motion with progress. Do not confuse noise with signal. Do not confuse resistance with failure. All three will visit you in the first hour. All three are tests, not enemies. Your task is not to eliminate them. It is to remain unchanged by them. What is strong does not seek comfort. What is wise does not seek to be seen. And what is disciplined does not need permission. Do not wait for the world to quiet before you act. Make your mind the quiet. Do not wait for time to slow. Own the tempo. Do not wait for motivation. Be ruled by commitment, not by mood. The soldier does not draw his sword because he feels like it. He draws because the order is given. So give the order to yourself and do not disobey it. You are not preparing for a single battle. You are preparing to become unshakable. That requires repetition. That requires stillness. That requires treating your own thoughts as terrain, mapping them, watching them, reshaping them. Each morning is a chance to redraw the map. If you let the world enter first, it will place its flags in every corner of your attention. Reclaim those corners. Fortify them with intention. Guard them with clarity. The first hour is not for negotiation. It is for declaration. Declare who you are. Declare what you are building. Declare what you refuse to abandon, no matter how the day unfolds. Let no one steal the first hour. Let no device, no opinion, no hunger, no alarm determine the shape of your mind. These are intrusions. Repel them. Win before the enemy arrives. Build before pressure demands. Stand before you are forced to kneel. Discipline is not harsh. It is precise. It is love for what matters most. To keep what matters, you must build a gate. That gate is the first hour. Let nothing pass through it that does not belong to your highest aim. Now walk forward, but do not hurry. Speed is not advantage. Clarity is. Time is not your ally until you master its rhythm. Most are swept away by the tide because they do not anchor themselves in the stillness of the shore. You must be different. You must move before time moves. Do not wait to react. Reacting is the rhythm of the defeated. To command is to anticipate. And to anticipate, you must be awake while others are asleep, in body, in mind, in presence. The blade is not sharpened in the middle of battle. It is prepared in quiet before the strike is ever imagined. So too must you sharpen your mind before you engage with the world. The first hour is your whetstone. Grind away distraction. File down hesitation. Remove the dull edge of indecision. What remains will cut cleanly through the chaos. Look around you. The world is not at peace. It is flooded with noise, urgency, fear masquerading as purpose. The enemy does not wear armor anymore. It wears distraction. It attacks not your fortress, but your focus. You will not see it coming unless you already know where it hides. In the blinking screen, in the scroll, in the rush to speak before thinking, in the seduction of comfort, and always it arrives early, sometimes even before you open your eyes. What is unguarded is always invaded. If you do not guard the hour, you will be ruled by the minute. Each alert is a soldier from another kingdom, each notification a silent coup. You surrender territory one thought at a time, and when the map of your mind is no longer yours, the day is no longer yours either. The enemy loves a door left open. In the hour of silence, close them all. No one enters your mind until you have entered it first. No one speaks into your ear until your own command has been spoken within. No goal is set by accident. No mission left to whim. Do not ask what the day holds. Decide it. To wake early is not a matter of ambition. It is the act of reclaiming sovereignty. To sit in silence before action is not delay, it is mastery. The one who moves last with full vision defeats the one who moves first with blurred intent. Position, not pace, determines victory. Do not seek the finish line before you have found your footing. Most battles are lost not through weakness, but through distraction. Not through lack of strength, but through lack of sequence. The undisciplined fight in every direction at once. Their energy is scattered. Their aim is blurred. You must move with economy. Decide once. Move fully. Let your mind be a spear, not a cloud. You cannot serve two commands in the same breath. You cannot obey both urgency and clarity. Choose one. The first hour is your vote. Each morning, you cast it. And what you choose becomes what you are shaped by. Clarity is slow at first, but swift in impact. Confusion moves fast, but collapses under weight. Do not be fast. Be inevitable. Every general has a ritual. Every strategist a pattern. Not because repetition is holy, but because repetition builds momentum. You are not preparing for today. You are preparing for storms not yet seen, attacks not yet launched, betrayals not yet imagined. The one who builds routine is the one who cannot be moved by surprise. This is why you rise, not to feel inspired, not to be praised, not even to succeed, but to become immune to chaos, immune to haste, immune to doubt. The first hour is your armor. If you wear none, you are pierced by every word, every glance, every wind of circumstance. Wear armor the world cannot see. Silence, stillness, a sharp internal order. No enemy knows how to aim at what he cannot perceive. Be that invisible fortress. Build yourself before the world can reach you. Let the sun rise into your command. Let the hour bend to your will. Do not wait for meaning, make it. The battlefield is not only external. The most important war is always within. The first hour is your internal campaign. Win it, and you need not fear the rest. What you do before the world begins is what the world will follow. If you begin in collapse, it will pile on. If you begin in command, it will respond. Not always easily, but always truthfully. The world reflects your posture, so begin upright. Let your breath be intentional. Let your steps be grounded. Let your thoughts be few. Each one must carry weight or carry nothing. Do not crowd your mind with plans you do not believe in. Do not entertain goals you will not defend. The enemy sees the hesitation behind your eyes long before you speak. The first hour reveals the rest. Show me how a warrior begins, and I will show you where he ends. Show me the state of your morning, and I will predict the state of your soul. You cannot hide disorder from time. You cannot disguise doubt from momentum. The day is a mirror. What you place before, it is what it gives you. Do not leave this hour to chance. Do not call it flexibility when it is surrender. Flexibility is the art of knowing your axis, not abandoning it. Let others drift into the day unarmed. You must carry a blade forged of silence, carried in precision, swung with intention. You will be tested, not with catastrophe, but with ease, not with war, but with comfort. The enemy comes in soft steps, small decisions, tiny slips, harmless delays. These are not accidents. They are infiltration. They are the whispers before the shout. Deny them early or be ruled by them later. You are not here to feel ready. You are here to become ready. Readiness is a state of structure. A mind placed in its proper order cannot be shaken by disorder. A body that obeys rhythm will not break under pressure. There is no secret to this. Only return. Return each morning. Begin again. and again, and again, until even the winds obey your presence. Victory is not a moment. It is a pattern. It does not arrive. It is created. Hour by hour, breath by breath, decision by decision. Those who seek triumph in bursts do not understand endurance. Endurance is quiet, invisible, built before dawn and proven after dusk. You will not see the reward in the first hour. That is why it is sacred, because it is not for applause. It is for alignment. Do not look to results to justify your discipline. The undisciplined seek signs. The disciplined create them. The first hour is not where you check progress. It is where you decide direction. If you make that decision daily, your steps will not wander. You will not need motivation. You will not crave permission. You will become your own command. Those who wait to be pushed will be pushed forever. Those who wait to be ready will always be late. But the one who enters the day as a strategist, enters a battlefield, knows that readiness is not a mood. It is a mechanism. It is built. As armor is forged, as arrows are carved, as gates are reinforced, you build readiness in private, so that you are unbreakable in public. I do not care what you feel in the first hour. Feelings are fog. Let them rise, let them pass, then act without them. Discipline is not a fight against emotion. It is a refusal to be governed by it. You may feel weak. You may feel unclear. You may feel nothing at all. These are not enemies. They are illusions. The only enemy is hesitation, and hesitation is not a symptom. It is a choice. The mind is terrain. It has valleys, ridges, blind spots. Know it well. Know where you stumble. Know where distraction builds its camp. Know the path through it that leads to command. Trace that path each morning, the same way, until it becomes instinct. Until no matter how you wake, you rise. No matter how you feel, you act. No matter how unclear the world is, you remain unmistakable in direction. There are those who start strong and fade, and there are those who start with order and rise without force. Be the second. Let others seek energy, you seek structure. Let others depend on momentum, you depend on protocol. Let others seek novelty, you seek necessity. The way is not always exciting, that is why few follow it, but it is the only way that holds when the storm arrives. And storms will come, not when expected, not when prepared for, but that does not matter, because you do not prepare for the moment. You prepare to meet the moment. Your preparation must become so consistent that it cannot be erased by surprise. That is why the first hour matters. Not for the hour itself, but for what it prevents and what it preserves. Silence is not emptiness. It is presence. The soldier does not shout before he strikes. He listens for movement, for weakness, for alignment. Let your first hour be filled not with volume, but with observation. The world tells you what it is if you do not interrupt it. The enemy reveals itself if you do not rush to confront it. Learn to see before you move. You are not training your body, you are training your edge, the part of you that cuts through excuses, that slices through distraction, that draws a line between what is essential and what is noise. That edge must be sharpened daily. You cannot carry yesterday's clarity into today's uncertainty. Each morning is a return to the blade, to the map, to the mission. If the day defeats you, it is not because the world was too much. It is because your posture was too low, your grip was too weak, your aim was forgotten. You cannot fix that in the middle. You cannot correct failure with more speed. Only stillness resets. Only structure sustains. Only strategy prevents collapse before it happens. The modern world rewards movement, even frantic movement, But reward is not always signal. Many are praised for chaos. Do not follow them. Applause is not proof of alignment. Build in silence. Move in silence. Let your victories speak only when they must. To become unshakable, you must be less visible. To remain free, you must be less predictable. This is why you must begin alone. The crowd cannot enter the first hour. They will bring noise, need, validation. You must leave them outside the gate, not forever, but until you are armed, until your command is spoken, until your aim is planted so deeply that not even the day's confusion can uproot it. Leadership begins here, not in speeches, not in action, but in arrangement. If your house is in disarray, your words are hollow. If your thoughts are scattered, your commands are noise. The first hour is where the general meets himself. You must look in that mirror, without flinching, without justification, without avoidance, and you must return with orders. Do not let comfort write them. Do not let weakness negotiate them. Do not let fear dilute them. The first hour is not a time for diplomacy. It is a time for decree. You are both ruler and soldier, both strategist and servant, both blade and sheath. The war within must be won before the war without begins. And if you lose, if you stumble, if you begin in disorder, begin again, not tomorrow, now. The first hour is not a window, it is a door. It can be re-entered. The moment you remember the mission, you are back. Sit, breathe, strip away what is not yours. Begin again. Even if the day has already moved, even if your habits have already faltered, even if the hour is gone, begin again. A commander does not wait for permission to correct course. A warrior does not wait for peace to reset posture. Begin again and again, until it becomes who you are. You ask how to reclaim control when the world is already in motion. You reclaim it by stopping, not forever, just long enough to see again, to hear again, to move without being moved. When chaos presses in, do not match its pace. Slow down. Let the noise pass. Step aside, not back. Control is not regained through force. It is re-established through stillness. A soldier caught in ambush does not fire wildly. He finds cover, assesses the terrain, draws breath, then acts with precision. Your life is no different. When the day strikes unexpectedly, your instinct must be calm, not conflict. Stillness reveals weakness. Noise hides it. This is why you train in the first hour, so that when you are struck, you do not flinch, you respond. Most are ruled by reaction. You must become ruled by design. Design begins with attention. What you do not see, you cannot shape. The first hour trains you to see clearly, beyond urgency, beyond habit, beyond desire. There is always a path if the eyes are steady enough to find it. But sight is not given, it is built. There are those who wake seeking comfort. They find it, briefly, then spend the rest of the day wondering why nothing holds. Then there are those who wake to command, who enter the day with a spine like steel, a gaze like fire, and a silence deeper than fear. Be that one. Be unshakable, not because nothing touches you, but because nothing moves you without permission. When the first hour is strong, you carry a different presence. You speak less, but each word lands. You move slower, but each step advances. You appear calm, but inside there is a map. You know where you are. You know where you refuse to go. That clarity changes everything. You no longer chase, because you no longer forget who commands your direction. You must stop measuring yourself by how much you do. Measure by how deeply you move, by how few things control you. by how many battles you no longer need to fight because you saw them coming. Time rewards the one who shapes it, not the one who fills it. The world will tempt you to rush, to accumulate, to compare. Do not respond. That is not the way of the warrior. That is the path of the scattered. The enemy cannot defeat the prepared mind, not because the prepared mind is perfect, but because it adapts. The first hour gives you this, the habit of adaptation. You begin again not because you failed, but because you understand rhythm. Victory is not linear. Discipline is not perfection. It is return. Quiet, repeated, undramatic return. Some will say you are rigid. Let them speak. Some will say you are slow. Let them watch. The world is loud before it is wise. Its praise comes late, and often to the wrong ones. You do not act for praise. You act because clarity is its own reward, because alignment is the only peace worth defending. The strongest wall is not built in a day. It is reinforced every morning, thought by thought, action by action. The first hour is the mortar. Skip it, and the day begins to shake under weight. Honor it, and the day obeys your architecture. It bends toward what you've declared unshakable. There is no glory in the beginning. That is why so few protect it. The hours that follow bring light, reward, outcome. But it is the dark hour, the quiet one, that writes the truth. Your truth. If you neglect it, the rest is performance. If you honor it, the rest becomes aligned. Let your attention be weaponized, not scattered like dust, but gathered like fire, in one place, with one aim. That is what the first hour teaches. Not to do more, but to do one thing completely, to begin fully, and then to let that fullness echo through every move that follows. If you find yourself slipping, do not panic. Panic is for those without process. You have process. Return to it. Inhale, realign. Begin again. Always begin again. That is the gift of command. It does not need perfection, only presence. You are never too far to return. The greatest warrior is not the one who wins every fight. It is the one who avoids unnecessary ones. The first hour gives you this clarity. It removes the false battles, the imagined offenses, the urgency that isn't urgent. And it reveals the one thread worth pulling, the one fire worth feeding, the one mission worth remembering. Most drift into battle by accident, and then wonder why they bleed. You will not. You will choose your ground. You will arrange your stance. You will prepare your edge. You will enter only when the moment serves your purpose. And when you will act without delay. Because you've already seen it. You've already been here. The first hour was your rehearsal. Now, the day is the performance. Even as the world pulls at you, remember, the one who holds the beginning holds the shape. The one who commands the hour commands the day. It will never feel urgent, but it is the most urgent thing you can do. If you master this, you will not need to master everything else. Because this is where all mastery begins. Let the day do what it will. You are no longer surprised by it, because you are no longer owned by it. You have seen its patterns, you have met its storms, you have heard its noise, and still you chose silence. Still you chose presence. Still you chose to build instead of react. And that choice, that silent, private choice, is the mark of command. To command the day, you must first command yourself. And to command yourself, you must stop negotiating with what is beneath your standard. Do not debate your mission with fatigue. Do not barter your values for convenience. The moment you hesitate, the enemy has already found the door. Close it. Lock it. Fortify it with the weight of your own word. You do not need more time. You need fewer fractures, fewer leaks in your intention, fewer openings where your clarity escapes. The first hour is not about adding, it is about sealing, containing the essential, protecting the signal, refusing the echo of distraction. Because if you do not protect what matters early, the rest of the day will dilute it. The strongest forces are not loud. Gravity is silent. Tides do not shout. And the mind at its most powerful is not the mind that performs, but the one that sees without distortion. That is what the first hour offers, the clearing of the lens, to wipe away the blur of desire, to remove the fog of yesterday, to see only what is real, and then to act accordingly. You must stop measuring success by how much you do under pressure. True strength is how well you arrange the hours before pressure arrives. If you wait to act until you are cornered, you will always be late. But if you prepare while there is space, you will not need speed. You will simply move when it is time. This is the way of quiet power. It does not broadcast itself. It does not ask to be seen. It knows, it prepares, it watches, and then, when the moment requires, it moves with such precision that the world calls it luck. But you will know the truth. You will know it was not luck. It was structure. Quiet, disciplined, invisible structure. That structure is born in the hour no one watches. When others are asleep to purpose, you are awake to pattern. While others rush to answer, you sit with the question. While others chase affirmation, you fortify your direction. The world will try to pull you back into noise. But you are no longer seduced, because you have heard something deeper, your own command, clearly spoken before the day begins. You cannot fake stillness. You cannot imitate presence. They are built, breath by breath, in the dark. They are earned in the hour when you could be comfortable, but instead choose clarity. When you could indulge, but instead return to form. When you could drift, but instead stay. Not because anyone sees you, but because you do not allow yourself to disappear. Your presence must arrive before your voice does. Your discipline must arrive before your actions. Your posture must arrive before your reputation. The world sees the outcome. You must see the cause, the root, the pattern. And that pattern always begins where no one else is looking, when you rise before the world demands it. Do not confuse rest with laziness. Rest is deliberate. Laziness is delay disguised. Discipline allows for restoration, but only after structure has been honored. The mind cannot rest if it has not first been arranged. The body cannot truly recover unless the path is clear. The first hour sets this alignment. It gives permission for rest by removing the weight of confusion. You do not need more discipline. You need fewer negotiations. Make one decision. Return to it every morning. Do not open the door to debate. Debate is the erosion of will. It wastes energy you need for execution. Let your first hour be a closed gate, not rigid, but focused, not harsh, but exact. There is no audience in the first hour. That is why it is powerful. There is no performance, no reaction, no applause, only the quiet repetition of truth, the sharp practice of presence. You do not show the world who you are here. You remind yourself who you refuse to become. What you tolerate in this hour, you accept in your life. What you sharpen in this hour, you carry into every room. What you neglect in this hour, you will chase for the rest of the day. There is no bypassing this truth. Time remembers everything. Discipline records everything. The price of neglect is not immediate, but it is exact. Build slowly, quietly, without seeking sensation. The most stable structures are not exciting, but they endure. That is what you are becoming. Not explosive, not erratic, but immovable. And movement, when it comes, will be precise, directed, undeniable. You are no longer seeking inspiration. That is for the untrained. You are seeking rhythm, ritual, repetition, not because you are dull, but because you are sharp. A blade does not seek novelty, it seeks contact with its stone, again and again, until it is ready. You are the blade. The first hour is your stone. You will be tempted to skip the hour when life feels urgent, when the world screams for your attention, when crisis knocks at your door before the sun has risen. That is when the discipline matters most. That is when the enemy watches closest. That is when your foundation is either proven or betrayed. You must not yield to urgency. You must not confuse movement with mission. A scattered army does not win because it runs. It wins because it holds, because it waits, because it knows the battle will come to it, and it will meet that moment as it has prepared, not with panic, but with posture. This is the gift of command. You are not moved by what moves others. You are moved only by what aligns with your map. The chaos of the world cannot shift a mind rooted in design, and design begins where no one applauds, in silence, in repetition, in refusal. Do not wait for the perfect conditions. That is the posture of the amateur. The professional returns no matter the weather. The mind may resist, the body may ache, the world may distract. But you have chosen something higher than comfort. You have chosen mastery. Each morning, you choose, not with words, but with structure. You do not announce it, you build it, quietly, with simple acts, the same cup placed down, the same breath, the same step onto cold floor, the same refusal to open the world before you've opened your mind. These are not habits, they are declarations. Your enemies are not far, they are subtle. Procrastination wears a suit. Doubt whispers kindly. Distraction dresses like opportunity. And comfort always arrives first, before the real resistance shows its face. See through them. Your preparation allows you to name the enemy before it strikes. In the first hour, you set the terms of engagement. You decide what matters. You decide what must be ignored. You decide how you move, and more importantly, how you will not move. Without this decision, the world will decide for you, and the world always decides in favor of chaos. Command is not a gift. It is not charisma. It is not force. It is a pattern of alignment repeated until it becomes identity. That identity is forged alone, in the space before sound, in the hour before demand, in the discipline before reward. That is where your power is sharpened. I do not care how you feel. I care how you arrange. I care how you move when no one sees. I care how precisely you hold the form. The world rewards emotion, but emotion betrays strategy. The way you begin must be cold, clear, measured, not lifeless, but without chaos. Not without feeling, but above it. Some will say this way is too quiet. Let them speak. The loud crumble when storms rise. The showmen vanish when discipline is required. You are not here to perform. You are here to endure. And to endure, you must begin without theater. Only order, only breath, only intent. Do not speak of goals until you have earned the silence that shapes them. Do not proclaim your values unless you have rehearsed them in solitude. Do not seek to lead until you have led yourself through the quiet hour where weakness whispers and you answer only with clarity. This is the shape of a strong mind. It does not need sensation. It does not need victory to stay aligned. It does not need recognition to act. The strong mind obeys one law, its own structure. And when that structure is tested, it does not bend, because it is not emotional. It is engineered. You are not here to be inspired. You are here to be intact, to be fortified, to be exact. Each small act in this hour matters, not for what it achieves, but for what it reinforces. Every act either sharpens your sword or dulls it. Every choice either builds your wall or opens a gate. Make your choices as if they echo, because they do. They reverberate across hours. They accumulate. And by dusk, you are ruled not by one great decision, but by 1,000 small ones no one saw. That is why this hour must be guarded like a kingdom, because it is one. You rule nothing until you rule this. And you rule this not with force, but with return, with refusal to negotiate, with the simple act of showing up, again, without drama, without delay. That is strength. That is fear to the enemy. That is the shape of the unbreakable. The world is not watching. That is the point. When it begins to watch, it will not understand how you move with such precision. It will ask how you endure when others fall. It will ask how you build with such force. And you will not need to answer, because your presence will explain what your voice never needed to say. The day bends to the one who bends the morning. The future listens to the one who commands the hour no one else respects. And every battle yet to come grows smaller in the face of the one who begins like this. There is a myth that strength arrives with pressure, that only when the fire comes do we become sharp, that adversity alone makes warriors. This is not true. Pressure reveals what structure has already been built. The fire does not forge, it tests. If you have not trained before the fire, it consumes you. If you have, you walk through it unchanged. This is why the first hour matters more than the rest, because it is the hour without pressure. And yet, you still show up, still sit, still breathe, still move in alignment. This is how you know who you are, when there is no demand, and you still act with precision. The weak need pressure to behave with discipline. The strong do not wait. You will not always have motivation. You will not always feel clear. But that has nothing to do with whether or not you begin. Beginning is not a feeling. It is a pattern so ingrained that it no longer requires negotiation. You do not rise because it feels good. You rise because you said you would. And that word is final. This is the shape of trust, when you become someone your own mind can rely on, when the command you give yourself is never left unanswered, when there is no debate, only direction. This is what others call willpower. It is not will. It is architecture. Build that. Quietly, daily, without reward, without applause. Do not seek comfort in being understood. The world is not built for discipline. It is built for consumption. If you act like the world, you will become like it, scattered, loud, distracted. But if you act from within, you remain intact. Do not imitate the chaos. That is not strength. That is surrender disguised. Let others drift from screen to screen, urge to urge, stimulus to stimulus. You must not. You must be still. You must let the first hour teach you that silence is not absence. It is sovereignty. Command is presence, not noise, not speed, not effort. Presence, which means when you speak only what is necessary. When you move only where direction calls. When you act without hesitation, because your inner court has already passed judgment. You will not reach this state by accident. You must choose it. And the first hour is your daily vote. Every morning you declare what kingdom you serve, either the one of reaction or the one of design, either the one built by the world or the one built by principle. Choose the second, even when it costs you comfort, especially when it does. What is built in ease will collapse in chaos. What is built in silence will hold through storms. That is why your private discipline must be more exact than your public one. Because when the noise rises, you will have no time to search for clarity. It must already be embedded. Do not wait for the enemy to show himself. He already has. He wears your weaknesses like a mask. He enters through unguarded minutes. He waits for your moment of delay, hesitation, compromise. And when he strikes, he will not feel foreign. He will feel familiar. Because he is the part of you that you did not master. To defeat him, you must become more precise than he is persuasive. You must see your patterns before he exploits them. You must speak truth before he whispers doubt. And you must rise before he even wakes. That is the value of the first hour. It is not just preparation. It is prevention. You do not need more strength. You need fewer leaks in your focus. You need fewer moments of indulgence that betray your alignment. You need fewer days that begin without structure. And all of this, every piece, can be found in the way you begin, the way you sit, the way you breathe, the way you look at the map before the march. Do not forget this. You are not here to be efficient. You are here to be effective. Efficiency chases productivity. Effectiveness builds command. They are not the same. The world will sell you shortcuts. You must respond with direction. The world will tempt you to optimize. You must respond by simplifying. Simplify everything but structure. Let your actions be few but flawless. Let your rituals be narrow but exact. Let your path be quiet but irreversible. That is the shape of the strategist. He does not move more. He moves less, but with precision. He does not aim wider. He aims truer. Most fear failure. Do not. Fear drift. Fear waking after years to find you have followed a path that was not yours, that you built someone else's house, that you obeyed commands not given by your highest self, but by your laziest urges. That is the true loss. And it begins small, always small. A skipped breath, a delayed decision, a quick glance at what doesn't matter, a gentle push of the boundary. These are not errors, they are signals. Answer them, not with guilt, but with return, not with shame, but with steel. Return to the hour, return to the form, return to the posture of the unshakable. That is what you are becoming. You are not born with alignment. It is not gifted by talent, nor inherited from greatness. It is cultivated, in silence, in repetition, in the refusal to drift. You build alignment the same way stone is shaped, by patient force, by constant return, by removing what is not essential until only structure remains. This is the work of the first hour, not to add more, but to remove what is false, what is unnecessary, what is loud but hollow. To strip away until what remains is sharp, clear, usable. A sword must be forged before it is swung. A mind must be ordered before it commands. A path must be walked alone before it can be followed by others. Do not seek to be followed. Seek to be grounded. When your presence is built on structure, leadership becomes inevitable, not because you ask for it, but because others feel the weight of your order and they anchor to it. The world follows stillness. It does not trust frenzy. You must embody the rhythm you want the world to obey, and that rhythm is born in how you begin. not in what you achieve, not in how loud your ambition sounds, but in the shape of your day's first breath, the quality of your first thoughts, the position of your inner stance before anything has happened. Most lose before they begin, not because they are weak, but because they are unsure, because they begin without alignment, without direction, without agreement between their aim and their action. Do not walk into battle without first deciding where the victory already lives. Decide, early, quietly, and never break from it. The undisciplined will say you are rigid. They do not understand form. They mistake structure for imprisonment. But form is not prison. It is precision. A river without banks becomes a flood. A fire without a vessel becomes destruction. Power without form becomes waste. Let your power be contained. Let your fire be directed. Let your time be aimed. That is the task of the first hour, to narrow the field until only the target remains. Not 5, not 3, 1. One mission, one pattern, one shape you return to without fail. The enemy loves when you do too much, when you try to hold everything, when you carry too many goals, too many options, too many paths, because then you hesitate, then you doubt, then you question what you once knew, and the enemy only needs 1 second of that. You must not give it, not 1 second. Let the first hour eliminate the unnecessary. Let it sharpen your focus to a single thread, and then follow that thread relentlessly, through confusion, through temptation, through fatigue. One thread held tightly leads you through every storm. You will be told to be flexible. And yes, adaptation is power. But do not confuse bending with breaking. You do not bend your principles to meet your feelings. You bend your feelings to obey your principles. That is the correct order. Discipline first, then flexibility, not the reverse. Flexibility without structure is chaos. Structure without flexibility is fragility. But structure first, then movement, that is strength. The kind that does not collapse under surprise. The kind that does not need certainty to continue. The kind that endures. You are not training for ease, you are training for impact. Ease requires no preparation, but impact is heavy. It must be carried on a spine of steel, and that spine is shaped in the first hour, in silence, before the burden arrives. Do not wish for lighter burdens. Build a body that carries more, a mind that cracks less, a soul that flinches less. And none of that comes from hope. It comes from ritual, from making the first hour sacred, not as a superstition, but as a system, a way of entering the world that ensures you are never unarmed. It does not matter what the world throws at you later, if you have sharpened your weapon before it begins. It does not matter how strong the current becomes, if your boat was built in calm waters. The preparation is not glamorous. That is why it works. Let others ignore it. Let them wait for pressure. You will already be positioned. You will already be armed. Because you understand what they do not. That by the time the noise arrives, it is already too late to build clarity. That by the time your attention is under siege, it is already too late to choose focus. You must arrive first. That is why you must rise early, not in time, but in presence. Before the world lays its claim on your direction, before momentum chooses for you, before emotion colors the map, you must be there first, to draw the map yourself. That is how you win. You do not need to rush. You only need to begin where others do not. You only need to protect what others dismiss. The quiet hour, the inward gaze, the firm breath, the sharpened thought. These are not luxuries. They are command. And command is not given. It is built. You are not here to be seen. You are here to be steady. to move with a force the world does not understand, to act from a place beyond emotion, beyond panic, beyond surface noise. The one who owns the first hour does not rise to meet the world rises to meet him. Let this be your edge, not speed, not size, not volume, but structure. A structure that does not break when praised or when attacked. A structure that holds its form through confusion. A structure that holds its purpose even when the day has lost its shape. You must not wait for things to feel right. You must do what is right until it feels natural, and then continue long after it does. That is the difference between the one who drifts and the one who directs. Direction is not born in brilliance. It is carved by routine. The battle is not dramatic. It is not cinematic. It is unseen. It happens in the quiet, in the mind, in the moment where you could delay and choose not to, in the moment where you could reach for distraction and choose focus instead. These are not small moments. These are decisive engagements. The battlefield is mental before it is physical. If you do not win there, you will lose everywhere else. You must not wait for external conflict to begin the internal arrangement. The war starts now, the moment your eyes open, the moment your mind begins to stir, the moment resistance first whispers. That is the enemy, not a person, not a force, but the slow, familiar pull away from precision, from clarity, from truth, the part of you that wishes to wait, the part that asks for one more minute, the part that hopes the day will go easy if it is entered casually. That voice is not yours. Silence it. You are not casual. You are not available to the random currents of the world. You are shaped, sharpened, strategically aligned. That must be the posture you return to every morning, not because you feel it, but because you've declared it. All things are created twice, once in the mind, once in the world. If you do not take control of the first creation, the second will not obey you. The first hour is where creation begins, not in effort, in arrangement, in seeing the entire day before you take a step into it. You must become dangerous in your stillness, unmoving in your decision, calm in your readiness. The one who can wait without weakening, the one who prepares without noise, the one who never rushes because he never forgets that everything is shaped before it is seen. The world runs. Let it. You walk in silence. And when the world turns to see how you've arrived ahead, let them wonder, because they did not see the hour you gave when they were still asleep to themselves. Time respects the one who respects the beginning. It does not care how late you stay awake. It does not reward scattered energy or chaotic passion. It rewards alignment. And alignment begins when the day begins, not in motion, but in mind. This is how you become unshakable, not through defense, but through design. You do not react to the world. You reveal what you've already arranged. The hour that no one sees becomes the outcome that no one can deny. There is no substitute for this. No hack, no tool, no technique that replaces the shape you give your day in the silence of its first light. If you abandon this hour, you surrender command. If you protect it, you carry a strength no one can name, but everyone will feel. The greatest presence does not announce itself. It simply enters, and the room adjusts. The strongest mind does not prove itself. It stays unmoved while all else collapses. You do not need to force respect. You need only move with a clarity that cannot be shaken. That clarity begins before the world can interfere. So sit, breathe, stand without delay. Step into the shape you have declared and stay there. Let the world move around you. Let its waves crash. Let its noise rise. You are not pulled. You are placed. where you have chosen to be, by design, by ritual, by the quiet law of discipline. There is no glory here, no spotlight, no music, just the edge, sharpened in silence, again and again, until it becomes part of you, until no hour can be stolen, until no battle catches you off guard, until you are no longer training for the moment, because you have already become the moment. The enemy watches for your first move. Do not give it to him. Give him only what you have shaped. A stance so rooted he cannot shake it. A gaze so direct he cannot approach it. A silence so deep he cannot find an opening in it. This is not performance. This is not self-help. This is war. Not the kind with swords, but the kind that shapes every decision, every outcome, every future. And like all wars, it is won by those who prepare before it begins. If you forget everything else, remember this. You do not rise to meet the day. You rise to shape it. You do not enter to respond. You enter to declare. The first hour is not for adjustment. It is for imposition. A quiet, unwavering assertion of what you have already decided. Begin with silence, and you carry signal. Begin with direction, and you carry momentum. Begin with mastery, and you carry peace, not comfort. Peace, the peace of knowing you are in command, that your edge is intact, that your walls have not been breached before the enemy even arrived. This is not about waking early. It is about waking true. Before the noise, before the false urgency, before the dilution begins. It is about defending the mind before it is targeted. It is about stepping onto the field already composed, already chosen, already aligned. There is no victory without rhythm, no dominance without design. The blade is sharpest in the hand that holds it before battle, so hold it now, not later, not when forced, now. Grip it in the hour when it feels useless, because that is the hour when it becomes who you are. If you lose this hour, you lose more than time. You lose position, and position is everything. From poor position, every movement is reactive. Every decision is rushed. Every intention is bent to survival. But from strong position, you have leverage, vision, power without noise. Let the others rush to inboxes, to headlines, to opinion. Let them search for grounding in movement. Let them stumble into their day asking it what to do. You will not. You have already decided. You have already stood in your command before the world had the chance to tell you who to be. This is discipline, not punishment. Precision, not rigidity. You are not bound. You are free. Free from drift. Free from distraction. Free from the need to guess. Because you have already returned to the place where you do not need answers, only reminders. There is nothing new in this hour, only the return to what is unchanging, the structure, the breath, the stillness, the pattern that refuses to break just because the world breaks its own promises. This is what makes you different, the refusal to abandon the invisible, the unfelt, the unpraised. Do not expect reward, expect reinforcement. Every repetition builds the edge. Every quiet return makes the next storm quieter. This is how you become what you are meant to become, not all at once, but layer by layer, morning by morning, hour by hour, in the dark, where no one claps and everything counts. That is why I say, if you lose the first hour, the day belongs to the enemy. Because the battle was never about what you do under pressure. It was always about what you do before it. And so you rise, not to chase, not to react, not to impress. You rise to arrange, to declare, to become. Let the rest wait. Let the war begin elsewhere. You have already won,